Hey, Scum and Villainy Stardancer. We're on episode 4. It's exciting.
Yeah, actually, I have to admit, I am having a blast every session, but I had no idea how long the series would go, and I am excited to be in episode 4 and go for 4 more.
Yeah, it feels like we've done a lot of cool things, but like there's so much but we've only on one hand we've like done all this stuff, but on the other hand like we've just touched the tip of the iceberg on so many things. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a strong 4 rounds of beginning.
So speaking of rounds, do we want to do a lightning round where we do a quick recap of last episode, folks?
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds
I'm
good.
just like stuck on the fact that we have an Icelandic space pony dog named Burden, which happened at the very end, but I want to start there because
Absolutely.
I'm excited about it.
Well, before we got Burden, we had a chase on the ice sails.
That's right.
On the ice skiffs from both like monster beasts and also dudes on snowmobile type things that were chasing us down.
Mm-hmm.
Had done a bad thing.
But it turns out that Faye very begrudgingly was quite adept at operating that ice skiff.
Yeah, it's almost like she had done it before.
Maybe.
And she didn't have to try too hard because Oz dropped the thermal detonator on the ice pack behind us, thus sinking, burying, or otherwise harrying and distracting the people chasing us.
So to bring us to why we were in this chase, we had taken a job that was not going to be safe or easy, but was supposed to pay well.
Mm-hmm.
And this job was to steal an unimprinted clone whose name is David. I have written down. Is that true? Okay.
We were saying that the models have
right. Types.
and he's
He's
called
a
David Martin
David.
because he's the David model.
Right.
Not to be confused with Michael, who your imaginary wife was cheating on you with.
I think it was actually Matthew.
It was Matthew. Yeah. That's right. And I was going to say, part of the ways we managed to successfully dash ourselves away with our newfound friend, model David.
Yeah.
That's maybe not what I meant, but you know.
Yeah.
Was Lauren being a remarkably good tail spinner, if you will, about
yeah, you think about people who tell lies.
This guy.
The media.
Got nothing on. Although I did have.
Let me jump in really quick just so I can catch you up to right where you are. We got a little bit of a view of you folks passing through a gate and the lamp reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
We got
that's right.
a few images of you folks landing on Lithios, which is an ice planet dotted with weird ice castles, and you guys actually went into an underground city. There was some dress shopping.
Yes, there's some fashion scenes, super important.
And there was a canny plan that involved Lauren and Faye posing as a married couple who was looking for some help because Faye was pregnant. And they needed some help around the house from a well-designed, servant model. So I'm dropping it back at you guys, so keep rolling.
Yeah, we had to prove our identity, so Faye did that with some spy gear by taking the blood of some random person that she punched in spaceport, and that got us as far as a meeting with the Yaru Primogen, who was one of the few scientists there. And while Faye excused herself due to morning sickness, and Boz accompanied her.
Made some friends with some rad tiger clone.
Yeah, there's some big old tough, like, we're big tiger clone, we're tough, we're badass, we kick everybody's ass. And you're like, yeah, so can I. And they're like, oh, you're cool too. We like you, like you as well.
Can you help us find some crackers for the girl in the bathroom?
we need saltines and soda water.
So yeah, what's saltines?
Yeah, it was great because we asked them for a thing that they did not know that did not exist, but nevertheless did not exist, that they did not have. So so they were distracted while Lauren was keeping the Primogen busy, and Boz and Faye
Ran.
through the complex, or picked their way through the complex, got into a terminal, and were able to.
What bad choice did Faye make? I remember.
What?
I mean,
Oh,
it
Faye
hasn't
made
proven
a
to be a
lot of
bad
bad
choice.
choices.
Also true.
Faye made a couple bad choices, but I think the one you're thinking of is the one because it took a few minutes to jerry rig one of the doors open. When we were running, because we realized that David was about to be imprinted, they just stuck her thumb on one of the doors to get through, and it opened.
Yeah. And my feel on that is I feel like, do you feel like that's a thing you would have let Boz witness coming to pass, or would you have tried to? Yeah.
She didn't think about it. She did it on
Did
accident.
it.
It was just
Very
like,
good.
oh crap. So
Burp.
if Boz looked at her like, what?
Too
They would've
busy.
shrugged and been like, we gotta go.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, too busy to have this conversation right now, but mark it for later.
Yeah, right. So we got there, and Lauren had, in the meanwhile, spun this miraculous tale, which I think only
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, well, we got into the situation where we were talking to a scientist who was trying to sell us a clone. And so he unfortunately realized that Faye was not pregnant. And so Lauren had to react to that by weeping and wailing about the baby being lost. And it was going to be the last thing that was going to hold their relationship together, and burst out of the room to search for his wife. Quote unquote, in an emotional fit, which the scientist was kind of like, oh, all right,
You stay
okay,
away.
yeah, no. So he did quite a lot of lying and panicking and crying. So
Good theater.
Hey, Strush, can you? Oh, never mind. You already saw it.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Just looked at chat.
So yeah,
And then-
escapades abounded.
Yeah, and in the final moment, Lauren dressed up as a primogen by putting on a fancy
Oh,
lab
that's
coat,
right.
and then bossing the Yaru around, and they followed his orders. And then Faye, terrified that this whole pulling David out of the lineup wasn't going to work without more authority, remembered her horrible nightmare and smeared, I believe it was lipstick, on her forehead in the form of the sigil, which she unfortunately perfectly either remembered or just through some weird muscle memory knew how to make.
Not good.
And then was considered one of them and was just ignored. And when she gave a little data pad to, Primogen Lauren, and said, this one has to come with us.
Sean, I'm cracking up a lot here. You can tell how much vampire you've played because you're calling them primogens, but they're technically progenitors.
Progenitors. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, that's just, yes. I've done this twice now in this
No,
game.
it's all good.
Mixed up Malclaith with Malkavian.
Yeah, I was gonna say first was Malkavians, now it's primogen. You can definitely tell your World of Darkness roots there.
Sorry. It's also just words. I don't know how to
Nerd.
use words when they, and then Lauren took it from there, excused us. Actually, I think Boz took it from there. Boz, you got us out of
Boz is the one that actually found the way out. Loren was the one that actually stared down the half animal guards.
yeah.
And once you got out, we saw that escapade that you described earlier with the chase scene across the lake of ice on the skiff with the thermal detonators and the haunches of meat.
Oh my goodness,
so-
that's right.
That's
It's like uber stinky. In my head, it's like uber stinky fish.
Yes, we mentioned that it was very
It
pungent.
was a luxury item. It was very good meat.
It was.
Good stinky meat.
So what we haven't done is payoff, and one of the things that you folks indicated was that you weren't 100% sure that this was going to be a one and done thing, which is certainly an option. If you guys are like, yep, we shove David into a cabin, we feed him 3 times a day so that he doesn't starve, we get to the place that we're supposed to do the thing, we hand him over, we collect our creds, we get out, that's fine. But if you want to role play it a little bit more, maybe have a discussion, figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, I'm cool with that.
I think
How do you guys want to proceed?
well, I will shush for a second.
No, you should. Everyone should voice an opinion.
There's gonna be a conversation along the way.
Yeah. I feel like Lauren is the only one who's like, yeah, it's a clone. Like, it's not a person that's finished the job. And I feel like you two maybe don't feel that way. So there may be a conversation to
Yeah.
be had.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the two questions that I have is obviously we mentioned that one of the ways that you guys acquired the alien pet is you paid the fee for the appropriate Icelandic pony dog, and this is a just for anyone watching this episode, it's a thing that's maybe like 5 foot something at the shoulder. It's got like razor fangs. It's got like heavy fur, but also like scales, like plates on it. And it's designed to survive in like subarctic temperatures. It's got like multiple eyes, and it's as we mentioned, it is cute for some definitions of cute. It is definitely a beast, but it snores kind of winsomely and produces vast amounts of body heat and has a diet of largely calcium, which it burns for fuel and the
Thank
engine
goodness.
that is its insides.
I'm just gonna point out that like I bet laying on it, like I bet it wouldn't care if you laid on it. Like
Nope.
you can
It's
ride it. So Lauren, you keep complaining about not having a mattress. We just got you a heated one.
I am not going to lay on that mangy thing. And please make sure that it stays out of my quarters.
They're just
Smash cut
hammocks.
to it's like chewing on one of Lauren's shoes.
Oh, those are
But yeah,
expensive.
no. But David seems to be very comfortable with it. And yeah, like what do you guys do with him,
Which
David
Good.
and the Beast? Actually, where do you put him?
Who?
I think we get like I think when we're all like strapping in because we're like every time we're leaving in a rush because we don't want them to find us. We get everybody inside, close all the doors, and I think like David, we just like sit him down in a seat and like seat belt him, like buckle him in, like a flight attendant would be like, you need to sit down and buckle your seat in. Burden, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's what Faye would do with David. Like here, just sit down and get buckled in, and without having to talk to him, without wanting to talk to him too much.
Who chose to get Burden?
I feel like the thing that we had discussed coming to pass last time through was that Burden was really fond of possibly David, possibly anyone here, and like came
right.
with us. And maybe we were in too much of a rush to like fight this thing. Like our new friend who's picked the ship, us, like.
Yeah. I think it was that he's very attached and protective of David in some way, and so maybe we were like trying to get David on, and we were like, "What is this thing?" and tried to get it to go away, but it kind of fought back, and we were like, "Okay, whatever." Like we just
Come
need to
on
go.
in.
Right. We weren't exactly in a position to argue with.
So the two questions that I have
300-pound
is like
dog.
obviously there is an owner. Did you just pass a few coins to him and acquire this dog, which seems to be pretty happy to be here, or did you guys steal it?
Well, we acquired the sled as an asset, I believe. That was a thing we did.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Buzz-
no, you
Buzz-
flash back to having a girl help you, and
Buzz convinced a youngin to
Yep.
borrow their
Buzz has
uncle's.
clearly not sold weapons on this planet before using those same sleds.
Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Old friends.
So
I feel like if there was time, it would have been unfortunately flip, but Boz would have tried to pay that person off because Boz wants to be able to come back and continue to have positive connections with
This is
those
kind of like bits.
those folks.
You folks haven't acquired some Icelandic pony dog of a special vintage and breeding. It's just someone's Icelandic pony dog, and he's like, "Yeah, it seems to like you. Do you promise to take care of it?" Okay.
Right.
I might call, like, they're like clutching their hat and they're like, "I might call you just to see how it's doing."
Oh no.
it's the
Like
Amish farmer, like he's got his wife's got the ice pick behind.
Is it the pony dog that ran across the ice with
fun.
us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like claws, but they have like slightly grippy hands, and they can actually like walk and climb on ice and rocks and stuff. It's actually pretty
Awesome.
yeah, it's a neat animal. Cool. So you guys do that, you take off, and again the question is, what do you guys do with David and the pony dog, because it's going to be several days before your rendezvous. because you guys are on Lithios, and Lithios is kind of far away from the Iodine suns. That's why it's so freaking cold out there. And you guys have to like catch a lane, and if you recall, you're supposed to like drive for a while, exit a lane where you're not supposed to, then fly into space with regular engines for a while and meet someone in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a trap at all.
It's not
be
unusual.
fine.
I'm going to tell you this. Meeting on stations and picking up cargo in plain sight where it's been like ticketed and approved is not always how you smugglers do it. So this is
Yeah.
not the first time you've had to do something like this, but it is a little shady.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We were expecting shady. So Faye is going to be useless in this endeavor. She is going to, like I said, sit David down, which is a temporary solution at best. Like strap him in so that we can fly off,
Mhm.
and then set the the course coordinates on autopilot, and disappear and hide in a, like, we don't have crew quarters yet, but she's gonna like hide in a part of the engine room, and be hard to find, and not,
Purposefully duck out.
Can
Yeah.
so there's this moment where you're buckling him in, you mentioned, like a
Yeah.
stewardess, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, putting his belt buckles
She's
on.
very awkward
you tell him
about
to
it.
sit.
She's like, oh, please just lift up. Fine.
He,
Yeah.
he sits very obediently until you
And that
turn to
bothers
leave.
me too. I don't like that either. I'm like, do exactly what I say. Oh, stop doing exactly what I say.
Oh.
So he like as you turn to leave, like after this is done,
Yeah.
he grabs your hand, like he just grabs your wrist, like very suddenly. It's like the first concrete voluntary action you've seen him take.
Mhm.
What do you do?
I,
I'm just
I
giving it a beep.
yeah, I turn and look at him. What? Annoyed, but
And he looks at you like with genuine, like you're starting to see like purpose and earnestness. And what he says is, "Zero, where are you taking me?"
oh, and I go like this. That was just a joke. That was a lie. I'm not that. I'm not. I'm a person. You're. Oh, we're going somewhere. They'll explain it, and I point to like Boz is like petting the pony dog. I'm like, she'll tell you. I gotta go, and I try to pull away. Clearly uncomfortable by the talking to.
Yeah, and I think I'm witnessing this just kind of aghast. Like a clone shouldn't do that. It's not acceptable.
Yeah. Does he let me go if I pull away?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I bet there was a really good opportunity for conversation there, and I'd totally love to have it, but Faye is.
No, it's fine. You
freaked out.
can. That's fine. I'm just representing the world, and there is
Yeah.
a thing going on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously. All right, cool. So yeah, what did the rest of you do? Do you let him get up? Do you assign quarters to him? Do you show him where the bathroom is? Like, how do you interact with him?
I'm gonna make a point to. So I have Boz seeing Faye like fumble around some more and not be comfortable with another thing, but at least this time not being super mean, unlike at Space Church, right? Gonna Basil like pat our new friend, Burden, and go on to hopefully we'll see what Burden does. Burden will figure themselves out. And go walk over to David and just keeping, how when you don't know someone, you sort of keep at a lunging distance.
It's like a Boz thing.
Doesn't everybody know this?
I mean, I don't require you to know this, like, or just to make any sort of role, just because
No,
you're
just
also like capable of combat. But David emits virtually no, like,
nothing.
You've never been around a person that projects less threat.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's no, like, when you walk into a room, because you're the muscle and you
Yeah,
know a lot of like
you
martial
read the
you kind of size people up.
every
and,
time.
He looks lithe. He looks like he would be physically fit, but a lot of his movements actually vary from like very graceful to like not. But there's no. His body position is always like passive and not like in a stance where he can attack from.
Okay.
So yeah.
Great. You hungry?
Yes.
I think I hear that, and I'm like, Boz, don't talk to it. It's not a person. It's fine. That's our payload, not a new friend.
Or
Don't
not a
give
new
it
friend.
name, then you'll want to keep it. Sorry.
For now, they're a guest.
Okay.
Imagine as you're saying this, the burden is like trying to like sniff at you and like lick you, Lauren. You're like,
I'm kind of just like walking slowly away from Burden.
Undermines the
I mean, you had
truth
that
of your
super
statement.
yummy jerky in your pocket. I'm sure the smell of it lingers, and
I
he
mean,
just got his nose all up in that business.
oh no.
Burden's more of a calcivore. Weirder diet, but more necessary for the kind of climate that he has to survive.
Got it.
Burden's hotter.
Right. Not interested in our carbon base.
Well, I mean, it can consume protein, but it prefers calcium. That's what it needs to.
Nice.
So if you eat your food and you throw it the bones, it'll be very happy.
Phew.
Mm-hmm.
Phew.
So Boz, are you taking David to the galley?
I mean, this person seems harmless and there's no reason to be mean to or like purposefully cold or unkind to somebody whose future is really uncertain, who I don't understand. So yeah, I mean, if that's just make them a cup of tea and like everybody's like kindergarten snack for the day, right?
Cool. When you take him to the galley,
Yeah.
He you notice that like you go to set some tea on and he starts moving. Like it's like the one of the few like I mentioned that sometimes his movements are graceful.
Yeah.
But he starts assembling a meal and food as if like, but his expression is kind of distant, like he's not thinking about it, but his body is performing motions that it's designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts like checking supplies and setting things up and executing things almost as if he's like programmed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you've like made a cup of tea, he's like made sandwiches for people or like set aside some like protein packets or whatever the heck you guys have your ship stocked with. And
Sure.
although he's probably using up some of your nicer supplies just because he is actually programmed to. He's a servant model, so one of the things that he does is like cook.
Yeah.
Or since I have no idea what your kitchen is like, but it's probably not one of those antiseptic or clean, TV show kitchens. He actually you see him like automatically starting to like clean and like act as if he's like doing a thing that he has a purpose for.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to clean the kitchen. You can if you
The
want.
moment you say that, he stops.
Just kind of ends up back at that sort of like placid, flat faced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if you want, here's a cup of tea, and if you're hungry, you should eat something, but probably not everything because there's not a lot of food, and I don't know where we're going.
He nods, but just stands there.
You're just not ever gonna talk?
I can speak. What would you like me to say?
No.
See, this is why you just don't talk to them. This is why you just don't.
Yeah, I
leave your
think
body down the aisle.
Lauren.
This is why Faye ran away.
Yeah, Lauren walks in just to that, and I'm like, Boz, I told you, it's not a person. Don't talk to it.
It should be a person.
And then I like look down at the sandwiches that he made, and I'm like, is that my pate?
He very meekly offers it up to you as if he's like he uses the plate as a serving tray.
And I kind of stare at it, and then I stare at him angrily, and I look at the sandwiches, and I'm like, God damn it. And I take the whole tray, and I eat a sandwich, and I walk out with the sandwiches.
Eat a sandwich violently.
With great displeasure, but it's pretty okay.
It's not a bad sandwich. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Credit where credit is due.
Yeah. By the way, as soon as Lauren walks out,
Mm-hmm.
the Yaru basically. Well, he's technically not one right now, but yeah, he looks up and he says, "I have made him angry."
It's pretty easy to do. Wouldn't worry about it.
Nice.
If you need anything, maybe let me know. And in the meantime, I don't know what to make of you, so I'm gonna go find something else to do.
Can I try to
Sorry
find
I upset you.
Faye?
Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, so I think I have my tray of sandwiches and the one sandwich that I'm angrily eating. And
Mhm.
I remember that Faye seemed a little off. And
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go look for her. Faye, do I find you?
Oh yeah, we don't really have.
There's not a lot of space.
Yeah, we don't have crew quarters, so she
Yeah.
doesn't have like a place. So what you notice is when you get like into the engine room, it's hot, of course, and there's like one of the areas that's like behind the compressor coils. There's little cupboard, little pantry, little cupboard spaces in there. And one of them is ajar, and it's pretty. I mean, it's not hard to find her. She doesn't really like lock you out. She just tried to hide, and it didn't do it well.
Yeah. So I think I go and I like crack open the cupboard door and I say, "Hey."
So when you crack it open, this like waft of green smoke comes out,
Mm.
and Faye's like, "What are you doing? Shut the door! Shut the door! What are you doing?" And
So yeah, I like shut the door and I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing?
nothing. It's like there's like a reaction. There. Hold on a second. I'll be out in a second. And
Okay.
actually, let me rephrase that. She is less, and she says those things, but it's not with a signature Faye kind of exuberance.
Mhm.
She's like, "Whoa, stop! Whoa, no, wait, shut the door!" Um, and then she comes out a moment later and looks kind of glassy-eyed,
Mhm.
and looks like, "What do you need?" And
Yeah.
she doesn't make eye contact with you, which she normally would. She like
Yeah.
looks away.
Yeah, I think I just say, "Hey, I brought you some sandwiches," and hold out the sandwich tray.
Um, she looks kind of furtive, like she's been caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and grabs one and says, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, David made them. I wouldn't. It's kind of a waste, but we should eat them since he made them, and they're pretty good. Um, you doing okay? Seems like something happened back there.
No, I was just working on the engine.
Yeah.
She knows that I know you're not. She's not answering the question you were asking.
Ye- Uh,
I
what's
think
that?
she's not answering the question you're asking.
No. What's the thing that you drew on your face? What's with that?
Faye looks like she's struggling a lot to just remain cogent right now. She's
Mhm.
not. So she's a little possibly sloppier with her like. She's slow to respond and is maybe asks you to have to repeat the question once or twice. It seems like it's kind of getting the glassy-eyedness and the wooziness that she had is getting worse.
Mhm.
And but I won't pain you through like me playing that out completely.
Mhm.
She says, "Oh, I saw it on one of the Yaru, and I figured it would make me look like them."
Okay. Are you okay right now?
Yeah, no, I'm fine now. I'm good. What do you need?
No, you just seems like something's going on, and I and it's very clear this is like difficult for Lauren to say. He's like, I'm here for you if you need to to talk.
Yeah, I should probably go make sure the ship's on course.
Okay, yeah, I should probably go. I'll just go.
Okay.
And Lauren takes his sandwiches and heads out awkwardly.
Nice. Awesome.
Cool.
So
So-
good.
There's just one tiny note here, which
Yeah.
is that back in the galley,
Hmm.
whenever Boz leaves,
Mm-hmm.
David, as we're calling him for now, basically waits until you leave, and then when you do, he like almost like it's almost like he gains some minor measure of activity, or he activates and actually like finishes making some food for himself, and he only eats once everyone else has left and nobody's watching him. So yeah.
Great.
So there's going to be, it sounds like there's going to be about 3 awkward days of travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think once Faye comes out of her stupor, she will be willing to talk to the crew, to Lauren and Boz about what to do. But she was pretty overwhelmed and went and got high. So
Yeah, it's Faye's vice, actually.
yeah. So so she's not really piloting the ship that well, although I don't think that's gonna really show, because it's a semi. I mean, it's like heroin. She's pretty out of it, but the ships fly themselves, for so.
Quick periods of time, at any rate.
Yeah. So, but yeah, is it like 3 days inside the hyperwave lane, or is it 3 days?
It's about 2 days inside the hyperspace lane, and then
Cool.
maybe like another day and change of real time travel, which is rougher because there's like more gravity and nonsense going on there. Yeah,
gravity. So I'd like to have a
Rude.
scene with us in the galley where we've like asked David to like go wait in the cargo bay. And it's just the 3 of us. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so Faye says, so the problem is, I thought we were going. So you'd never believe this, but I didn't actually get all the details of this job before we started it.
I do believe that, Faye.
That.
And I thought we were just picking somebody up and they just needed to get delivered somewhere, like just a person that just wanted to go to a place. Like maybe they were a wanted criminal, or maybe they were fleeing their abusive spouse, or maybe who knows, the myriad of reasons that there might have been a person on a planet that wanted to be on a different planet, or
But something virtuous. Ish. Enough.
it's just, I thought they were a person, not cargo. I thought we were getting a person that was coming of their own free will, not that we were abducting somebody from a imprinting station.
Well, I
didn't
mean,
know we were taking someone that like wouldn't want to come. I don't know.
it doesn't seem like he doesn't want to be here. He's just cargo, Faye.
He doesn't. No, he's not just cargo.
He can make a good sandwich, which most of our cargo cannot do, but he's still just cargo.
No,
We don't know that.
Have you've talked to him, Boz? I know you have.
Yeah.
No, that's so okay. So let me tell you a really short story, and like because I'm like
Boz
Yeah.
leans back against whatever and
Eyes
settles in to
roll
listen.
as far as they possibly can.
and the long and the short of it is, Faye's like, I grew up on the Theos. That's where my adopted parents are from. Like we know, like I've been around a lot of clones, and they have varying degrees of, they're people-ish. I mean, they're like genetically engineered to be certain ways, but
People-ish.
well, they're people who have like been programmed, but they still have thoughts and feelings.
But they weren't born. They don't have parents. They're not like. It's not the same thing if like, I was there and they were going to imprint me and I was fighting back and then someone stole me. I'd be mad. I'd have desires. He doesn't fucking have that.
Unless
He
you
looks like a
hold-
person, but he's no more person than that thing. And I point to Burden in the corner who's like gnawing on a pile of bones. He's not more of a person than that thing in the corner right there.
Burden's very nice.
You dress a certain way and act a certain way because that's what you were told to do. he didn't even have those choices. He was like programmed to be the way he is. Like we have choice ostensibly, but we're still driven by the things around us, and we're confined by our environments. And he's like even more so. He's like nature 2.0 version control stuff, but he's still got the same bits. I mean, Burden is a giant big pony dog. But
Where
Sorry,
are
just to get like crunched through like a massive thigh bone and kind of give you a look.
where are we taking David?
I don't know.
So
We're
I
taking
know
him.
I know where we're taking him. We're taking him to
We're
these-
taking him to where we get paid. Okay? That's
I
where
don't-
we're taking him.
but I don't know if he wants to go there.
He doesn't
Can-
want anything.
He wanted to make you a sandwich.
yeah.
He was programmed to make me a sandwich. And I hold up like the CompuPad and I'm like, does this have desires? Is it sad that my CompuPad was programmed to give me information? It's never had the choice to be a ballerina.
Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. Are we gonna have the debate about what defines sentience?
I think so. I think we're doing that now.
Your CompuPad is a computer. He's a person. However, he became a person. He's a person.
Don't have to have parents to be a person.
Yeah, I had crappy
Um,
parents twice.
Whoa.
Sets of them, both junk.
Well, it's
Still a
not-
person.
It's not the quality of. Okay. If we completely disregard this.
Here's a better question. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
If David was a person, let's just roll with that. Give me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Do we pass this person on to an uncertain future? Is that a problem? Is that a thing we do to get paid? Do we care what happens? Like, doesn't matter if
Yeah.
David's a person or not. Let's pretend for the minute, yes. So if yes, do we give this person over and finish the job that we set out to do and get paid? Or do we have a problem with that?
I think we have to know where he's going.
Okay. How do we
Let's
find
say
out?
he's a person.
Can you get in touch with Satani? Can she tell you anything more about this job?
maybe. Well, not here. We don't have long distance comms. I mean, I could at a port, but I think we just have to go and see. I think we just have to go and see who it is and read the situation and decide what's right in the moment. Because
What-
maybe this is where David wants to go and these are great people. I don't think he knows. But once he gets there, he didn't really seem to understand what was happening.
How do we all agree in the minute?
Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs whittly.
We probably should skip the wibblies.
Yeah, I mean, Boz has a good point. What if we disagree at that moment?
We need to act
Then-
together to keep ourselves safe. I'm not going to argue with y'all in front of somebody else. Just here in private.
Then I pick.
You
No.
pick. Faye picks.
Yep. There we go.
What gives
She
you
like
the
tries to like puff
authority?
up. She's shorter than both of them, but she tries to like puff up.
Logic me through this.
Yeah, please enlighten us.
Who has the most experience being around clones? Me. Who is the best able to read one and find out what they're feeling amongst this very subdued sense of I'm supposed to act like I want whatever someone tells me to want.
How do we know that you know?
You've hidden from this
feeling.
clone for the entirety of this journey.
Yeah, I know. It's a good point.
How about this? We rock, paper, scissors for it if we don't agree in the moment.
How would we do that without somebody saying?
We just
Rock,
do it
paper,
anyway.
scissors now, and whoever
We could
wins
just say that it's okay. How do we do this? Do we do this like me and Faye and then winner against Boz?
You can totally throw multiple times until there's only one winner. There's only so many permutations.
Mm.
This is a time-honored tradition in.
All right, guys. Lauren rolls up his sleeves, assumes the position. It's like, okay, guys.
comes.
We throw on. It's 1, 2, 3, throw. Yeah, we agree. All right. One.
We're doing this.
Are we doing this?
All right, on 3.
Lauren's ready.
All right.
1, 2,
2,
3,
throw.
throw.
All right.
Check that out. We killed everyone. Look at it. It's gorgeous. That's amazing. That is so good.
All right. Well,
At that juncture, Boz starts laughing and can't stop for quite some time.
This is serious, Boz. This is serious.
This is serious, but that was wonderful, and this is
We'll
good.
figure it out in the moment.
It's a terrible idea, but I agree.
Do you guys just want to roll a d6, see whoever rolls highest? It's
No,
easy.
I want to decide in the moment. I want to
Alright,
decide when
cool.
the pressure's on us.
That sounds great.
I think the whole idea of pre-planning this uncertainty is ridiculous
Cool.
and short-sighted anyway.
That's why that was the best, amazingest thing.
I want to have this like one brief thing because like over the course of the next 2 days we see like a montage, right?
Mm.
Where a lot of the time, you know, the three of you are going about your ship routine. Occasionally you're yelling at Burton, who is eating things that he's not supposed to.
Boz does never yell.
Oh, okay. Well, there's tugging. Like, I need that Hydros banner.
Faye yells. Faye loves Burden, but also yells at Burden. Complicated relationship.
There's probably at least one moment where like you see like Burden looking like very abashed and there's like a pile of poop and like Faye's yelling. Cool. But there is one definitive thing, which is Faye, like you've got a bit of relief going on here, but the question is like how diligent are you about maintaining your stupor?
When Faye's under more stress right now than she's been in a long time, and so whenever she thinks she can get away with it, and
Okay.
so
But are you clear-headed for the meet?
No.
Okay, cool. So I'll just describe it then. You guys are arriving.
There's the thing I want to do before though,
Go ahead.
which is study David.
Thank you.
He
Yeah.
is exceedingly careful, but every once in a while, if you've got Skulk, right?
I do have Skulk.
Could you roll your Skulk to gather info?
Sure. Almost.
This sounds weird, but it'll make more sense in a split second.
No, it's so I totally get it. I can't just look at him. I have to wait till he doesn't think I'm watching him.
Exactly.
I fully get it. Let's switch over to our skulkiness. Faye. We have one gambit. I'm gonna save the gambit for when we're making the negotiations, just in the chance. Is this? I assume this is controlled.
Mm-hmm. It's really in a way a fortune roll. All right, so you don't find.
Not good.
No, actually. So you don't find out anything of deep meaning. So you don't like find the perfect moment or some great deal of insight. But you do notice that occasionally when you're trying to sneak up on him, you'll find that he's like making little like shapes out of like spare bits of wire in a corner because you guys have some of the construction going on where you're putting in your crew quarters, and he's like making little shapes. But when you show up, you know, he just bows his head and he's very like passive, right? Or occasionally he'll be making food for people in the galley, and when you walk in, you'll notice that he's like made something nice and he's smiling like he's proud of himself, but then, you know, he goes passive. So you like don't find anything deeply meaningful, but you see like the fact that when nobody's watching him, it's almost like he gets a chance to be himself, but whenever anybody's watching him, he like hides it, almost like he's been trained to do that, or maybe he was punished if he didn't. So
Faye is going to take it from this that he does have desires and feelings and whatnot. He just hides them because that's what he's been told he shouldn't have those things. So whether that's right or not, because I did not roll well, that's
your decision.
That's what Faye takes from it. And at some point she like takes one of the things he leaves behind, one of the little like wire man creation things.
No, actually it looks like a little copy of Burden. It's just made out of wire.
Perfect. A little bird, copy of bird.
Yep.
And she leaves it like on Lauren's hammock. So at some point when Lauren comes back, It's this little, he finds this
Burden sculpture.
Tiny
little
dog.
bird sculpture, yeah, which I'm sure is totally wee and adorable, and we could sell it on Etsy.
I think in the midst of the snippets that we see of our travels, we see some of Lauren kind of being upset with the dog, but then we also see a time where like he's reading a book or a newspaper of some sort, and you see him like lean against Burden in a private moment. And so I think when he finds this little figure, he picks it up. He doesn't know where it's from, but he smiles at it, and he like puts it in his very small box of personal effects of like, oh, this is a precious thing.
Cool.
Nice.
Super good.
Awesome.
Anything else anyone wants to do before we get to the drop-off point?
Oh gosh, I think Boz spends the entirety of this journey trying to like be pleasant and like engage David, and like failing and like being like, okay, I give up for now. I'll come back later.
Well, engage him with what? I'm just curious.
Even like invite like basically the same tack over and over again, which is bound to fail, which is the like, do you want anything? And of course, my assumption is that David is like, there's just no replies. Like, probably no, maybe not. Like, do you want tea? Are you hungry? Do you need anything?
He will acknowledge whenever he is hungry. At one point, he says a very weird thing. Like, it's the only time that he actually initiates conversation. Like, you've been trying to do this for like 2-3 days at this point, right? And he keeps being very quiet. But like, he just at some point when you're getting frustrated with his passivity, you get ready to go, and then as you're about to leave, he says, "Why does Zero stay with you? What does she want? You do not ask her these questions."
Which one's Zero?
He points at Faye Null, or at least in the direction of her cabin, or the pilot's quarters, or wherever she is, unerringly through walls.
Okay. Well, I don't know. That's Faye. That's the name I have for her.
Not Stacy Mulligan.
No. But she stays because she wants to, because we're a team? What do you want to do?
This only seems to confuse him, and he goes back into that like flat-facedness.
Can I answer any other questions?
Is there anything you wish?
If you have any other questions, I hope you'll ask. That's what.
Where are you taking me?
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm updating my character portrait for Faye. Faye Null, last known location, iota system, alias Stacy Mulligan, alias Breaks, alias Zero.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Your other alias, our husband and wife aliases.
Yes.
We're Chester and Phyllis Atherton.
Oh my goodness.
If you would like to add.
Yes.
Atherton.
That's amazing.
Phyllis. Oh,
Awesome.
goodness, yes.
So you folks, I think the next shot is of you folks approaching the ship that you're supposed to rendezvous with, unless somebody else has anything they wish to do before that.
No, that's it. Absolutely. We do the thing. We jump
Cool,
out.
yeah. It is a frigate, so it's bigger than your ship, but it's not battlecruiser sized or anything. It's not like a small room. And you realize upon approaching it, there is it's like giant, it's black. It like takes you a second to kind of like see it properly because it's like just like a patch of blackness against the starry night. And then like as you guys are like coming around on the vector, you see like the two twin signs of Iota are shining their light even out here, and it shines across it, and it's this big black heavily ornate ship. And the moment you see it, because you folks are cognizant of the world and the people in it, even if like your characters are, even if you don't necessarily know who these guys are, this is a ship of the Sahir. So the Sahir are a Xeno race that is not known a lot about. They move around in trade families, and they're pretty wealthy. They are mysterious, and not a lot is known about them. There's a lot of rumors. They wear masks, and they have people that speak for them. And they they're just this like not very well known Xeno race, but they have a lot of money and they're very powerful. One of the things that they're best known for is that they those instantaneous communications that you have across pretty significant distances is actually because they developed a technology for the hegemony called it's the Ansible network. It's their FTL communication techniques for in-system stuff. So yeah, when you see this ship, you realize like immediately like who it belongs to and what it is. It's the same way that like if you see like a Romulan ship in Star Trek, you're like, oh, that's a Romulan ship. So this is one of those like, oh, that's a secure ship. And like, you know, in the TV show, obviously it would actually be called like something like the Void Key. You know, like if you see the like the designation.
Yes.
It's like frigate.
Oh, do we have little banners that appear when we
of course you do.
dive in
Of
system?
course you do.
It's like Iota system orbiting the void.
There you go. So yeah, so that's the ship that you're going to be docking with.
Nice.
I have this imagining that we're all up in the cockpit as we make this approach, right? Like
Yeah, you can handle it, right? Right, boss?
Yeah, remember that Lauren is doesn't like the gates, so he's in the cockpit with you guys, but kind of like this in the corner, sweating.
Yeah. Well, we're at this point a ways away from the gates because we like jumped out.
Oh, okay.
And
this is the hyperlane.
Like, regular.
Yeah.
We're in regular space.
We're off road.
Yeah, we're off roading it.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the little details that I just wanted to add is that a lot of these ships, the way that in regular space, you know, ships oftentimes either have like ion drives, but it's not unusual. You've seen this particularly like for going up through Atmo, people still use like regular exhaust, right? Like they'll burn some sort of fuel. And this ship actually has several parts that are almost like cages where you see flames and like some sort of exhaust coming out of it. And it's obviously done for like ostentation display.
I was gonna
it's
say
not necessarily
fancy.
It's like primary drive.
It's almost as fancy.
Kind of like black iron gothic look to it.
Nice.
Dope.
Lauren, that's almost as fancy as Space Church. Look at that.
Yeah, it's good. I haven't seen one of these guys in a long time.
I can't decide if I feel better or worse now.
What?
You just don't touch anything.
Fine.
I know.
All right, so you're docking us?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool. So this thing is expecting you. You're not doing any fancy maneuvers. It's just standard docking. So there's no rolls or anything involved.
Great.
But yeah, you know, you lock your ports, and when the airlock iris is open, and you know you guys can like walk ship to ship. You see that there's a person standing there. They've got like a golden veil and like voluminous kind of like black clothing. Their ship is much warmer than your ship. It's obvious that the people on it are used to much higher like atmospheric, and also like there's a weird crisp kind of smell to the air, almost like there's a smell of ozone or something. Like their atmospheric content is not exactly like Earth standard.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. That's actually.
It tastes funny, but close enough.
Good enough for government work.
There it is.
So you know this person bows and just gestures for you into the ship. Doesn't say anything, but obviously is standing there as if you're expected.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah, I stroll on in. I think I head this up.
Cool. Do you guys ask David to come along? Does somebody fetch him? Like, how's this? I'm just curious what this looks like as you guys are traipsing through this ship.
It's a good question. I think Faye would be somewhat reserved about bringing him with us until we know what the deal is.
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
she's not really in a position to put her foot down right now. So she's like,
I
I think we should leave him here.
Yeah, I imagine that we leave him on the ship for the time being.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So just to jump to the scene that obviously we're kind of everyone's expecting, you're taken to a chamber. There's one of these Sahir here. Just to describe them, they're like 8 foot tall or so. They wear these like they have these golden masks and sort of like black outfits. This is very normal. Like all of them sport a specific look, and their masks actually indicate which family they're with. Some of them are incredibly ornate. This one is actually very plain for the most part. Like it's almost featureless except for eyes. And it has, but yeah, they have this like complicated sequence. It looks almost like they have feathers made out of metal, and they have this like weird kind of like suit. And like the mask is golden, and they have these like their arms are covered in kind of like golden scales and armor. They've got like they've got an extra joint in their fingers, so their like fingers have an extra joint coming out. And this thing is sitting on like basically like cushions, and there's several other people arrayed around it. And as you approach, it's obvious that this is a central figure, kind of like sitting on cushions, almost as if they're like reclining inside them, like on them. And as you guys approach, however, it's the people on the side that'll speak to you. The Sahir never speak; it's only the people around them. But one of them says, like, "Right on time. I assume that you have the goods."
And Lauren says, yes, of course, but I think there's also like Lauren walks in and does this kind of strange bow towards this figure that is expected, but that Boz wouldn't know and Faye wouldn't recognize. So it's just this element of him being culturally aware. And
Yeah.
Nice.
I've seen people like this before, that I imagine that they do whatever this social exchange is, that they recognize that I
Faye catches
recognize
way
it.
too late and like bows as the other one's like standing up. Like, like it's awkward and dumb. You know, she's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
People trying to follow a line dance when they've never done it before.
So yeah, when Loren does that, obviously, like the tall figure sort of like does like a motion with hands, and sort of like bows head slightly and sort of like recognition kind of thing. But yeah, there's some basic pleasantries. Like there's maybe 4 people all told sitting around this person, and you know, one of them says like, "Is there aught that we can provide you? Refreshments, a place to rest? Is there anything you wish to do before you give us that which we need?"
And Lauren is like, thank you so much for your hospitality. Do you happen to have any of your Sahiran, like basically dessert wine that he's like, it's been too many years since I've enjoyed the delicacies of your people.
So there is no gesture, no actual like physical interaction, but the Sahir turns, like its mask like rotates towards a door, and somebody will walk in with that stuff. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And Lauren
Nice.
absolutely takes a glass. Does Boz take a glass? Does Faye?
If they're offered, absolutely.
Yeah, they do. And they pull out some like cushions for you folks to sit if you wish to like.
Faye's like, not, I don't drink.
I'll follow Lauren's lead on the like reclining, or you know, being a gracious guest and some version of situated wisely.
Yeah. And as this scene continues, Lauren is going to continue to very politely but ask for refills on this beverage, and perhaps towards the end maybe getting a little sloppy. So that will be an ongoing thing through the rest of this conversation.
Cogent-minded individuals in this negotiation.
Yeah. So yeah, we recline. I've probably already finished my first glass and have kind of asked for another.
Fans, like AC units. It's warm in here. face starts itching herself because she's sweating.
So notably, the person that offered the wine is the same person that picks up conversation. They seem to, they talk about pleasantries. They'll talk about, have you heard about these events? Isn't it fascinating that this is true? They're like basically putting out small talk. If Faye is making a comment like that, it is a different person that replies and basically says, my apologies. This is the temperature of the world that we are used to.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm just so warm. I'm sleepy, but we should get to business. Lauren, you got this.
I think Lauren looks daggers at Faye and is like, Faye, perhaps you would consider taking off your jacket and you might be a little cooler.
Fine. And she nevertheless starts taking it off, kind of like inappropriately too. I mean, she's not like doing she's not like stripping it. All she's taking off is her jacket, but it's a little thrusty. A little awkward.
Yeah. So yeah, Lauren is like, thank you so much again for all your hospitality. We're so happy to be here. It's a lovely, lovely ship you have. Let's talk about our job and what we can do for you.
We assume you have them.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Then, as is normal for bargains, we have already negotiated a price.
Unfortunately, we got out of range of the person with whom you negotiated the price, so we personally haven't heard exactly what that is. If you would be so kind to let us know.
So the thing is that they all look at each other. Well, actually they wouldn't. They're staring right at you, and one of them says, like, we have agreed to 8 credits. Now, what you have to understand is that a single credit is like the equivalent of roughly like a small briefcase full of cash. And they say 8 without like blinking. They're just like, yeah, didn't we agree to 8 credits? And they're like, we agreed to 8 credits. We believe this is a fair sum for your troubles.
Do Boz or Faye have a reaction to 8 credits? Because Lauren doesn't blink an eye at that.
So this is yeah, Faye does have a reaction. She's like, so what's this all for anyway? She interrupts the discussion of money. What do you want, David, Mr. Sandwich Maker, for?
So one of the individuals that's been quiet this entire time basically says, does it matter?
No, absolutely not. It does not matter. 8 credits sounds fine. We did run into a spot of trouble on Lithios, though. If there's anything you can do just to smooth things over there, it would be a benefit to both of us, I think.
They do not react, but the one that's polite and makes small talk usually says, that is part of the job. It is part of what you are accepting 8 credits for. We are confident that you are resourceful enough to handle the problem on your own.
Thank you. We're confident as well. Yeah, and I'm like, how should we bring him to you? Is there a place that we should bring him on the ship, or do you want to come back to our ship? Okay, great.
Are there any other? So the Sahir is not saying anything. The people around the Sahir, are they human? Are they different Xeno? Are they also Sahir, but like lower caste Sahir?
3 of them are human. 1 of them is Xeno.
Okay, but none of them are Sahir. There's just one Sahir.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is actually not unusual. The Sahir generally show up, and there's only like a couple of them per these ships, and they wander around with people.
Of the humans that are making this small talk, do any of them look like any of the models that we saw when we were going through the Yaru database? And
let me make a fortune roll.
Do any of these people look like they are clones?
Well,
I realize that's not a thing you could normally tell, but since
well, normally they would have the sigil if they
Yeah.
were.
None of them have sigils. Yeah, none of them appear to be specifically any models. No.
cool.
Lauren is having this experience of thinking like, I can't leave Faye here with them while I go get David.
The goat and the cabbage and the wolf problem.
But also I can't send Faye or Boz to go get David for them because I don't trust that they will do that.
Yeah. Right. You're the only one at this point who's like committed to the job, and the rest of us are still on the fence.
Yeah.
So Faye will make it easy for you by by saying, okay, well, we have very sophisticated technologies on our ship that only allow us to enter if all three of us are present. So we're all gonna go, and we're gonna put our thumbs on these things, and they're gonna read our bioscans, and that's how they know that it's all of us. But if you cut our thumbs off, they won't work. It's only living
Yeah.
thumbs.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
we'll
we're all
head
gonna
out
go
there.
back, and we're all gonna go back to our ship now, because that's where David is.
Mhm.
So I would like to try and sway them into feeling like this is all cool, except for I'm not quite cogent.
I don't know that you need to sway them that the three of you need to go to your ship to fetch this guy.
Cool.
But
That's fine then.
but I will throw a complication that maybe you can talk them out of, which is you see the golden mask turn, and the one that actually like reacted with like some vim at your comment actually says, I will come with you.
Nope. Oh, sorry. I just said that, didn't I? I meant no, that's not necessary. Sorry. I apologize. Sometimes you just say things.
That will be just fine. Thank you. And Lauren stands and does like the goodbye bow and gestures to Boz and to Faye,
Yep.
like, let's go. This guy is coming.
No, I don't want him to go.
Faye, please lead the way.
Yeah, so you guys will get to your ship, no problem. It'll
Okay.
just be a couple of minutes.
That's fine.
As soon as you're out of the room, though, like so far on the ship, you outside of that room and that presence, you've never heard anybody talk. But as soon as you're out, like as you guys are walking, the person that's coming with you says, "Is your friend okay?" Looking at Faye.
She's fine. She's just an interesting and vivacious young woman.
Who's had a long week?
It's nice of you to ask after her, though.
I'm also right here.
Yes, you are. Yes, indeed.
You are
How,
he leans forward and just says, "You are also very rude."
I look at him and I'm like, what cued you onto that?
Boz doesn't bother to hide the giant grin on her face.
and Lauren interjects, like, so how did you come to work for the with the Sahir?
Chosen as a child.
Yeah. What planet are you from?
I was born on Shemaya. It's one of the planets in the sector.
Your parents must be very proud.
I doubt they recall me.
Did they? Faye's about to interject and then realizes like Lauren's actually doing the thing that Faye wanted, which is figuring out what the hell's going on here. So she shuts up. She shuts.
That your parents. Why wouldn't your parents remember you? Did they have a lot of kids? Is that?
It's been some time, and I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
I did have many siblings.
Mm-hmm. Do you miss it at all? Do you enjoy your life here?
There is a really strange look of confusion on his face at that question, and then he blinks twice and goes, "No, of course not."
Mm-hmm. So you enjoy your work
What?
here? Your life. Sorry.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's fulfilling.
So what's David gonna do?
Speak.
Speak? Like you do? He's gonna speak for the Sahir?
Yes.
What's he
Oh,
gonna
he was chosen as well.
Yes.
Did you
What
know that
did you
he's
think he was for?
We didn't know.
we don't
Mm.
know. So you know that he might not live that long? Well,
He
actually let me
seems really confused. Is something wrong with him?
well, I mean he's a clone. You must know that. You asked
Oh, I would not worry about it. You did acquire him before in time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have one of the marks.
He seems, if anything, a little smug, and then he says, I wouldn't worry about it.
What do you mean you wouldn't worry about it?
Faye, he said there's nothing to worry about.
I know, but now I really want to know if there's something to worry about. She's like trying to stay really focused, but she's right on the brink where she might just like get distracted, like might just like lose.
Oh, look, here's your ship. Perhaps you wish to put your thumbs on things.
Totally gonna put my thumbs on things. I'm gonna be all see as I just stick my thumb on some pad.
Yeah, I feel like there's the shot of the three of us all being like, yeah, take our thumbs out and just like putting them on different places. And then kind of looking at each other and be like, it's fine. This is okay.
Everything's great.
All right. So I do want to try and I know Faye has been totally more just a pain in the ass and a problem than anything else, but I do want to separate us. I want to have a moment where we can talk, where we can talk to David before handing him over to this person.
Cool, yeah, you're like, hey, we'll fetch him, just wait right here.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So we get in the ship, door closes behind us.
I can't handle this.
Faye, you're out of line.
I might be.
Yes.
I got distracted. I might be, but I also might not be. He seems happy, but this feels weird and mind controlly, and I don't know how it works. And I just don't know what we're giving David up for, and if this is something that we're cool with. I don't even know. I'm so lost right now. It feels all wrong. Everything about this feels wrong. Except the 8 credits, that felt okay.
Okay, I was gonna say 8 credits. It's an honor to be chosen to work.
Is it?
For the Sahir. Yeah, it is.
If it's not, they have good PR, and that's enough.
There we go. Boz says so. 8 credits. Done.
If we ask David if he wants to do this, he's gonna
make a sandwich.
Exactly.
Come on.
I don't know if we're human trafficking right now, is what I'm saying.
We're not.
Assume we are.
Yeah.
If we are, what do you suggest that we do? Walk out of here with another $0 payday, and with the Sahir after us? Like,
no.
Like a bad plan too.
Yeah, it sounds like the worst plan. We do the job, we accepted, which perhaps in the future we can know, hey, maybe we don't want to do jobs that Faye and Boz think are human trafficking. And maybe we can just like vet the jobs a little better.
Yeah.
And walk out of here with 8 credits. Get some mattresses. I'll make a nice dinner.
Go with money we have.
Yeah.
After repair.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We'll have 8 credits, you guys.
Faye, we signed up for this.
Yeah, but we didn't know what we were doing. We signed up to do a job.
Whose fault is it?
That's a really good question. And I think
That
we should talk about that extensively. Whose fault is this? And I'm feeling like if I just do a lot of soul searching and I really think it reflect on what happened, I blame you, Lauren.
Lauren, don't.
You blame me
Please
for taking
stop
this job that now you have a problem with.
Yeah, you should have known better.
Okay, if you two are going to argue, I'm going to go talk to David.
And Faye's not entirely lucid, but this is where she feels like this is like where she's gonna make her stand. She's like, you know about Sahir. You knew that fancy bow.
I
I'm trying to provoke Lauren. I don't know really why, but Faye wants.
But that's the thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So can Lauren can Faye cause Lauren, is it possible in the realm of possibilities, is it possible that Lauren would have an outburst? Screaming, shoving, otherwise getting upset.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what. I mean, he is upset. He's upset that you've pinned this on him. Like, definitely upset. I don't feel like he would yell.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he's more of a quiet disappointment.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Faye really wants to get like a visceral reaction out of it. She doesn't really know this, but she wants to.
Yeah.
She wants to like
Push all the buttons until the screaming falls out, right?
I don't know what necessarily those buttons would be, but I would like to try and.
So yeah, I think that you, that Faye saying that it's my fault, like Lauren kind of rises to his full significant height and walks towards you. Yeah, and like it's like, this is not my fault. I am not the person who takes jobs and doesn't know what they entail to fund my drug habit. You haven't been 1 ounce of help this entire thing. You've been rude to this race of people that you know nothing about, and you're defending an object. And at this point, like, I think I've maybe backed you into a wall and like and looming over you a little bit. But there's also this like we're like this close or something. Is a degree of closeness that we don't usually share.
Intimacy, as one might say. Yeah, and she does. She gets like backed into the wall, and she's like, "You're the one who knew who the seer." And she like pokes Lauren hard in the chest with her finger.
And I grab her wrist.
Oh, nice!
I'm like,
awesome.
Just because I am educated doesn't mean that this is my fault. You need to stand down.
Awesome.
Oh God.
I
feel like this is a good moment to cut, and we'll come back and see how this resolves.
Yeah.
Cool. Boz, David's in the kitchen, as is not entirely unexpected. Is there anything specific you want to ask him?
I think
when you walk in,
I feel
with something on a plate.
Gosh, I think as Boz walks in, like plating whatever, and like there's like on the backsplash of whatever magical like galley sink there is or isn't, is like a little collection of like critter wireframe things, right, from around the ship and whatever.
Cool.
Right, a couple more burdens maybe in various poses, and like a little like Lauren leaning, like just all these little critter figures. And hey, we ended up where we got to go, and so we figured out where you're going. Do you want me to tell you what's happening?
Yes.
So
he's also like he finishes whatever he's doing, and then he turns around, and it doesn't seem to be entirely intentional, but he's standing between you and the plate. But go on.
Yeah. So there's a race of Xenos called the Sahir, and they're neat. They don't they have people who speak for them. They don't use, like, they maybe don't have their own voices, or they need people to be their voices for them. So you get to be one of those people, so you get to help them. That's the idea. I don't know much about it otherwise. Their ship's really neat. And everyone seems in good health.
He thinks about it. He seems almost to like process something, and then he reaches out and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, It will be okay.
All right. You ready? Do you need anything from here?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming with us. Let's go.
So I think that as the two of you walk out, the
Yeah.
camera for a split second lingers on that plate,
Mhm.
and there is one of each of your favorite sandwiches and a little note in like tzatziki sauce that says goodbye. Actually, I think all it says is thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Right. I think when you come back,
Mhm.
Faye's Faye can't overpower Lauren. We've established this already, but she's still shaking, vacantly. And with her other hand, she's like trying to poke at him, but like trying to do it fast enough that he can't catch that hand too. And she's like, and she's screaming now. This is full on yelling. The guy in the other room can hear because our space doors are in paper thin. And she's like, you just want your space caviar and to be with your fancy space church and have all your fancy nice things, and you don't care what it costs or what you have to do to get all your fancy nice things and just look all fancy and pretty like you do, and you just always want to have your nice clothes that hang on your chest and make your shoulders look all big.
And I think as she's yelling, I do catch her other wrist. So I'm holding both of her wrists in front of her at this point. And I meet the level of yelling that she's at and yell like, I don't only care about fancy things. And then there's this moment of me like looking pointedly at her. And then like you see Lauren blush a little bit, and then he drops her wrists. Boz walks in and he turns away from both of you.
Nice.
Gorgeous.
Nice. I think Faye is also silent.
So yeah, Boz walks into this very strange situation.
Paz is working. You two are being jokers. Keep going.
So after this
Do you
moment,
just walk right on by, or do you like?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're having their feelings. I'm busy.
as Lauren sees Boz walk past with David.
You don't even remember his name.
Not a fucking person,
It's
okay?
just a model type.
Lauren looks up and he's like, "Oh, are we good to go? We're good to go. All right," and starts walking with the two of you.
Why don't you? And Boz will very unsubtly let you fall in behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Boz will lead this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boz is doing business. Awesome.
Working.
So you walk back out, and the individuals there, just to describe him, for whatever reason in my mind, he's like dark skinned and bald and waiting patiently, and has the like robes like a lot of the speakers do with the like red sash with the bark of this particular Sahir. As you like, sorry, I guess it's a stole. I don't know. It's like a thing over the shoulder.
It's fancy.
Anyway, as you walk in,
Accoutrement.
you see like him break out into a genuine smile as you know he sees David, and he seems very pleased.
Great.
And he sort of like extends his hands almost in like, you know, like a very it's an oddly human gesture, right? Like a greeting, like sort of like almost like a half hug, like. He exhales and says, "Oh, good. After all the yelling, I was wondering if you had." Actually, he doesn't say. Yeah, he says, "I was wondering if you had the goods." But then he addresses like David directly, and he says, "Like, brother, come with me," and sort of like gestures for all of you like back into the ship.
Great.
Is there? Boz just really wants to leave.
Yeah.
You can go if that is what you wish.
Yeah, is there anything else you need from us? I'm sorry for the earlier delay.
The Sahir are very long-lived. They go through many voices in their lifetimes. Waiting a few minutes for something like this is no matter.
Well, thanks for waiting. Can you please send our regards?
I'll walk back with him.
He seems less pleased with this idea, but doesn't say no.
I
How
do.
about
I
not
do actually
me?
want.
Go ahead.
I won't cause any problems.
I don't believe you, but okay. So, Lauren, what do you want to do?
And so you see Lauren look at Faye, kind of with the memory of what just happened, but also knowing that Faye cannot go anywhere by herself. And look at Boz, and he's like, Boz, you won't go with.
I'll go with y'all if you want, but
I'll be
I said my
fine.
goodbyes.
We're just gonna go trade this cargo for money. Faye says pointedly.
All right.
Can we be done now? Really, Lauren?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we're done.
I got it.
Okay.
And Faye, I think I think just because of adrenaline is a little bit more lucid than she was before.
Mhm.
It's temporary, but she's more Faye than she has been for a lot of this trip.
Mhm.
Because she's just been shouting and all this. There's all this
Yeah.
adrenaline. And I think as we're walking back, we should take our first break.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds great.
Cool. All right. I will put on the clock and we'll be back in. Hold on, if I can pull it up. Come back, clock. All right, we'll be back in a second.